And in no way do I mean that as a pejorative. This truly is an ARMA-like experience, but without the need to become an expert in land nav. So yes, even LTs can play this game. If y'all have watched any of my other content, you'll know that outside of Ready or Not, I tend to like games that are approachable but still engaging, and this is absolutely one of those games. Dagger Directive can be seen almost as a direct relative of the 1998 Delta Force game, with old school quality textures, a focus on tactics, the both eyes open view of the sight picture, and a simplistic UI. It's a pretty apt comparison. The game is being developed by Arcane Alpacas, a two-person team that's worked on props for other titles, making this their first full-scale release. And after about 15 hours of playing this, I can confidently say for a debut indie project, this is an incredibly fun game. Dagger Directive is centered around player choice, which allows for a lot of novel experiences for each player and each playthrough. On that note, the gameplay is just awesome. For each mission of the 3 campaigns that currently exist, you get the freedom to choose from a litany of different firearms, explosive launchers, drones. Like, the amount of choice just in the setup of your inventory alone is incredible. Each mission will provide you a suggested loadout to ensure that you can complete the mission objectives, but you can add on or remove whatever you want from this loadout, or completely ignore it and just take whatever you want. I tend to ignore help from games, so I went into a mission blind, and it turns out there were like 3 tanks on the map, so I got pretty quickly clapped by a single heat round. With that, consider taking advice from the game on a few of these missions. The inventory system is pretty bare bones, but still very usable nonetheless. Items in your belt here are readily accessible, while items in your backpack need to be dragged in and out. There is a lot of customization insofar as the weapons are concerned too, although the combination of more than a few items isn't really supported at this time. Such as with the M4 or the M16, you can't add a PEC and an M203 launcher. It's kind of one or the other. Now, I know that Delta Force did this first in 1998, but the implementation of the right or left side optic is so awesome. This essentially simulates having both eyes open looking through an optic, which is so cool, and it's meant to keep your situational awareness up, but I'm gonna gush over this. This is so awesome. I mean, I could personally attest to a number of occasions I've caught someone moving out of the corner of my eye that I would have never seen with like that full screen optic, you know, with everything blacked out. So again, I just love this. So freaking cool. Dagger Directive also keeps up its realism through its implementation of bullet drop and flight time. In the tutorial of the game, it goes over these basic principles, but essentially anything more than 300 meters out, pulling out the binos, verifying distance, setting your elevation, and then taking the shot is a much smarter and enjoyable way to play this game. While doing so, you'll need to feel out the lead for the enemy, given their movement speed and how long the bullet will be in flight for, because from what I can gather, this game is not hit scan based. It actually does simulate the projectile. And if it is hit scan, then it does a really convincing job of showing otherwise. In addition, especially at night, you can see bullets being lobbed or ricocheting. I think I got 1 or 2 kills off of just hitting a solid ricochet off the ground or a wall. Again, this isn't realistic to the point where you're having to factor in the Coriolis effect or wind speed, etc., but it's just enough to make long shots feel challenging, and when you make them, incredibly satisfying. I also love the implementation of bullet penetration into the game for lighter materials. I think a lot of games decide that a bullet hitting an object is good enough, but the attention to detail to carry over a bullet's trajectory even after hitting something here is super dope. I do like the implementation of the bore blocking and needing to get your barrel out of the way for obstructions, and to assist with that in the game, it gives you the ability to change which arm you shoulder the weapon on using the H key. Again, amazing attention to detail here. As with most modern shooters, Dagger Directive includes a suppression mechanic, which is pretty good, other than in brighter maps, which then turns the gamma up to the point where you're basically inserting your eyeballs into a 800,000 lumen flashlight. On the opposite end of that spectrum, night in this game is incredibly dark, like darker than the ending of Taxi Driver dark. And now the game provides you NVGs to play these maps specifically, and while playing the game, you can actually shoot out the lights in order to make it a bit more stealthy and help out the lighting under those nods. NVGs also have a depth of field effect, and you can't use magnified optics due to how NVGs inherently work. I also really love the lighting effects and how they work at night, especially with the spatial illumination of smoke when gunshots or explosions go off nearby. Okay, so as far as the missions go, as I said before, they are just a lot of fun. Each one will probably take around 30 minutes or so, just the first go around, especially while playing on your own, but are otherwise incredibly reasonable in pacing. During the mission setup, you can choose the campaign, mission, and time of day you drop in, And with most missions, you're brought in via heli or dropped in via parachute. While in the heli, for most maps, you will get access to the minigun, which helps clear out the LZ, especially in hot landings. Just be careful, because I found out the hard way, you can fall out of the heli at any time. Once you do get on the ground, you get to approach the issue at hand really however you like, planning things out on the map, pinging objectives, and much more. For instance, in this one mission, you are tasked with taking out anti-air launchers, which are deep in enemy territory with a lot of resistance. So instead of going in loud, I stayed super far away and used javelins to take them out like Jamshid, not even once having to step foot into the town. While doing this, I also found out you can target humans with the javelin, which is hysterical. And if you want to play East European War Simulator, you can use drones to drop explosives for large armored vehicles, or suicide drones to take out soft targets as well. Again, the game validates your playstyle. Whatever you want or choose to play like, it accommodates, which I think is super awesome. As far as the mapping goes, it's pretty simplistic, but intricate enough to give you important info such as your location and waypoints. Again, the game really gives you all the tools you need to succeed with little to no experience. You just need to use them. Speaking of maps, they can be a bit big, so just understand that depending on the mission, you may be playing a bit of Dagger Directive Stranding. Use the caps lock key to set yourself on cruise control to avoid your poor middle finger from cramping up on the W key. The cool thing too is that when your objective is to clear out an area, when it gets down to the last few enemies, their location will show up on the map. This is awesome and prevents a lot of those ready or not, can't find the last civvy moments that we all know and love so very much. In the later missions, you also start to get access to mortar strikes, which can be super useful in clearing out small areas, although I wish they were a bit more spread out. They're almost a bit too precise. It's less indirect fire and more like calling in an Amazon Prime strike. Also, mortars in this game are kind of like Half-Life 3. You know it's coming, but good lord is it taking forever. So my suggestion is to spot your targets, see where they clump around most, and send those mortars. If you're like me and love poking the bear with zero consequences, this game lets you save scum to your heart's content, like quick saving in Fallout before accidentally doming Myrna in Diamond City.
So, are you human or not?
And if you find that a mission is too difficult or you really just don't have the right equipment, you can always return back to the ship, pick your new equipment, and then try the mission again. In most of the maps, the AI will take positions of advantage, so places like guard towers, hills, or other elevated platforms that put them in a good vantage point. When the AI takes fire, depending on where they are in relation to cover or concealment is how they will react. AI near buildings will retreat and take cover inside, or will bound forward to something like a fence towards contact. And once you start shooting at them, the AI in most instances will deploy smoke for concealment, which is super annoying as the player, but also realistically just smart tactics. They will also go prone and hide in the high grass, which makes for a formidable challenge, especially if you aren't paying attention. When the AI identify where you are, they will begin barking out your locations to the others. The AI are very adept at bounding and suppressing you and will keep pounding your last known location to keep your head down so that way they can try and flank you. Although sometimes they can do this whole early onset Alzheimer's thing and then completely forget that there's just some random dude in OCPs who broke into their compound launching grenades and shooting all their friends. Literally, enemies 50 meters away won't hear the M203HE go off and straight up watch their friends become a red liquid piñata. Like, do these cartel members look like their base was just shelled with 80mm mortars and is on guard for what is likely an airstrip takeover? I don't think so. In regards to firefights, generally enemies go down with one shot, but so do you, so you really have to pay attention. But the AI tends to have mostly stormtrooper levels of aim in the normal mode, so winning a firefight is absolutely doable so long as you make smart decisions. They will also have that same level of aim with something like the RPG, so there have been more than a few times where they will blow themselves up, which is absolutely hilarious. Additionally, if you find yourself low on ammo or weapons, you can always pick up the enemy's equipment, and most either have an AK or AR style weapons, so I would highly recommend bringing one of those two platforms with you. I also noticed when shooting the AI, they tend to spaghettify and will sometimes quantum tunnel into surfaces, but honestly, it adds to the retro charm of the game in my opinion. As far as graphics go, I love the art style of this game. Being able to play what is a very open map design with a very high frame rate takes a lot of computing power, and me personally, I'm more than happy to trade uber realistic graphics for gameplay and tactics all day long. Besides, there's still a lot of modern day lighting effects that make it feel very new while giving that same retro vibe. Currently, there is multiplayer so that you can create your own squad and play, with self-hosted and LAN servers being supported. In addition, the devs are planning to implement a mission editor so that way you can create experiences for you and your friends. And they plan to implement the Steam Workshop, thank God it's not something like Mod.io like some people decided to do, so then you can play community-made missions as well. Future developments also include the addition of a free play mode, so you can experiment with enemies, weapons, allies, etc. however you'd like. Either way, this is an awesome experience that I have no doubt is going to be a great alternative for those who want an ARMA-like game without needing a full 4 years of active duty experience to play effectively. But what do y'all think? Will this be your next go-to warfighting sim? Let me know down below. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, remember our sole objectives. Stop the killing, stop the dying. I'll see y'all later.